I suppose historically we've really focused on revenue growth, and I think the biggest difference now is we're looking much more holistically. Even though we intellectually knew we needed to take care of our clients and probably did, it's built a lot more formulas or measures to kind of look at more than just revenue, and knowing that if we do things in a much more balanced way rather than just focus on revenue, it was actually going to build our future and be a lot more sustainable rather than having a very transactional revenue focus.
And can you tell us some of the results that have been achieved as a result of the changes that you've made?
Well, I'm not sure how you explain this, but we've had our best financial year ever, so that's probably a good thing.
That's good.
And a significant increase, a good 20 to 30% over last year and over any previous year that we've had financially, with actually probably fewer people and fewer senior people, which is quite a coup. So I think there's probably some immediate financial results we found purely by just doing things a bit smarter and probably acknowledging the value that we're adding rather than maybe discounting as much as we have in the past.
And what about personally, your own approach to the business and how your role has changed?
Oh, my role, far out. I guess intellectually you know that you need to be a bit more commercial in a wider range. And I probably have focused more on my technical competence of this actual, what the business is about. So I suppose a huge growth curve for me personally on what it takes to run a business and really look at that future growth, look at what it takes to start building that future picture, which was a big learning curve for me and still will be over the next probably 3 to 5 years. Absolutely. Just on the tip of it, but really have probably broadened my commercial knowledge considerably.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk about difference in stress levels in the way the business is these days?
Probably increased my stress level to some extent because our process identified a range of actions that me being the person that I am wants to actually crank through our action plans. So in a way it's identified a whole range of activity which in some respects has added stress, but in other respects has probably given me a much more specific path to follow, knowing that we're going to get certain results out of those actions. I suppose it's also forced me to put some goals in place that maybe had been a little bit less tangible in the past. So I think goal setting there's been a big change in our goal setting processes, both my own personal goals as well as the business goals. So I guess in that respect, maybe stress has dropped off a little bit. I have a lot more, I've got a much more engaged team for the first time, people who I think are really, really interested in where the business is going and has taken on board what we need to do as a team. So I think we got added benefits that I didn't even anticipate through this process. A much more engaged, cohesive team, very clear idea together where we're going, very clear vision of where we're headed, and really a much more solid idea of how we're going to get there. And again, I think the focus traditionally has purely been on transactional, getting work out the door to clients. So I think we've all grown from it. We've all probably learned more about each other, and there's a level of trust through the whole team that we probably never had before. Mm-hmm. So probably some real added benefits that have brought us a lot more content and satisfaction than we ever anticipated.
Mm. Great. And in terms of financial benefits and value for money, what would you say about the investment in the program itself?
It's a good size investment, and you just got to know that you're ready for this step, I suppose. But definitely worth it. We've never really asked for help before, and to some extent, it's really encouraging to see that when we did finally ask for help, that it had a real benefit in a whole lot of ways. So, I guess from our perspective, we wouldn't be where we are probably right now without having gone through that. So probably, and we'll reap that benefit for the next couple of years, I'd imagine, before we have to probably regather and relook at our strategy going forward. So I guess if you look at that investment over a 2 to 3 year period, it was a pretty small investment really. So pretty good value for money.
Excellent.
Mm.
Mm.